Daniel, I'm looking at this. I'm Back proposes a new shutter button.
They're back yet again.
As its APS-C Kickstarter closes. We've talked about I'm Back,
recently,
the digital back for film cameras company, probably more than warranted on this podcast.
I don't know. I think it's kind of a cool concept.
When I go to the Kickstarter page, it just says 1.000.000,
That's $1 million. Lucas.
And I don't know what that means.
That's $1 million.
Then why do they use so many decimals?
It's very precisely $1 million.
And one spare battery for all backwards. They've raised over $1 million.
It's a lot of money.
1,720 backers.
Yeah. A lot of people want that digital film back.
So we spent a little bit of time talking about how this one actually fits into the camera and all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And taking the picture, I think, was maybe a bit weird because you had to, what was it? There was like a button thing on there in order to, you had to basically open the shutter. You had to engage the sensor and then you actuate the shutter.
Yeah, it's like you have some like pretty short amount of time, like where you like power up the sensor and then press the shutter on the camera and take a picture.
Right, exactly.
And I remember saying when we talked about that seemed kind of inconvenient. And it's like you'd have to like add that to your muscle memory, for taking pictures. And so what they've done here is basically like a lot of cameras had the little screw-on thing on the top of the shutter, like if you wanted to add a remote cable release.
A soft shutter or a cable release screw in.
And so they've designed like a little electronic button that would screw into that. And so I guess it's basically like you put your finger down and you would press that and the camera shutter, basically at the same time.
Oh, it's like a button for your button.
Yeah, button for your button. And they also talked about having like an adhesive version. So if your camera doesn't have a screw-in thing, you could like stick the little button on there.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, I think it's a good solution. It's still a little janky compared to not needing something like that. But if you need a way to trigger your deal, like that's much better than the separate button, I think. So I just thought it was a cool little upgrade for it.
I honestly wouldn't mind something like this that went to other things. Like if I could just screw that into the shutter release on my XT5.
What would it trigger?
Like what could I run it out to and trigger? Well, I feel like I could.
Well, should we go with some ideas?
I can make it trigger anything. Obviously, the obvious thing is like a remote flash, but that's
a
dumb.
Boring
that's
answer.
a really boring answer. Yeah.
You can do better. What about like an air horn? You could probably get some pretty cool pictures if you did that, right?
It's a very good idea, Daniel. Imagine you're out there birding.
Yes.
Yep, and you really need to get them in flight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How are you going to get those birds going?
Well, it can't really squeeze an air horn while also pressing a shutter
Definitely
button.
not. Have you seen the size of the telephoto lenses some of those birders use? Like that's a two-handed operation. So you need like a hands-free air horn, and this is how you do it.
One of the things that I found most useful about modern telephoto lenses is the little foot that you can mount a tripod to will swivel around. So fortunately, you swivel that thing 180.
Uh-huh.
You mount the air horn to the tripod foot.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, just right there.
Yeah, you still need a way to trigger it. So that's where this button.
Yeah, and then you get this button. You run it out and you trigger it. If I could put a hazer on it.
Oh.
Sometimes you always have to reapply the haze, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it'll hang for 20 or 30 minutes, but maybe you just need to spray more haze every time you take a picture.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
obviously.
Lots of really good options here.
Yeah. Man, got like a whole world of possibilities with that.
I guess if you were using it with something like one of those DJI LiDAR focusing systems, maybe you could use it to trigger that.
Sure. Yeah, maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Maybe there is. I feel like there's more here.
Yeah. We're not we're definitely not like reaching the depths of what you could do with a button for your button.
No, I think there's a lot more visualization and brainstorming that could happen in regards to the button for your button.
If only you had some AI that could do that for you.
Man, if I had gotten 2 more hours of sleep, I think I'd have some really good ideas.
Yep.
But since you brought it up, since you've already invoked Claude one time this episode, we'll loop back to it. But I'm going to go ahead and ask Claude, what kind of clever things could I?
What if actually? Okay, This one's actually like, here's a real idea. Okay, because I mean, a lot, we're kind of messing around, but here's a real idea. I hear there's this app that like can tell you what birds sound like. Like you trigger it and it listens. What if you're birding and that little shutter button on top triggers the app? And so you take your picture, but it also tells the app to start listening to the birds. And that way, you've taken your photo of the bird, and the app tells you what kind of bird it is.
I mean, pretty good.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty good if it could then vocalize that for your Nikon camera we're already recording the audio.
Good point. Because Nikon cameras have that feature where you can record like a little audio file thing.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Anytime you're out birding, depending on which of our ideas you have decided to use, you're either going to get an audio file telling you the name of the bird, or you're just going to get like an ear-splitting air horn.
And you don't know which.
Every photo is a surprise. Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
I can't type, and why did it autocorrect absurd to obscure?
Were you about to say that you can't type and listen to our pre-recorded audio intro at the same time?
No, I was going to say I can't type and talk at the same time. I can't type something and say something completely unrelated to what I'm typing. Wow, that was way faster than it should have been.
It's because I have fast internet.
Confetti cannon, fart sound, board randomizer, spinning laser pointer. Laser pointer would be interesting for some reason. Slime launcher, that's not a real thing. Foam, why are they all launchers? Automatic insult generator. I guess if you were trying to get a reaction to somebody. These are all terrible ideas. Yeah. I hate all these ideas.
I think we had better ideas than those.
Yeah. Who even needs AI?
Yep. Who even needs AI?
Stupid. Find these show notes so we can talk about real camera stuff.
That's the kind of podcast we're having today. You're like, we're what, 18 minutes into the recording. You're like, let me find the show notes real quick.
This is probably our worst episode ever. Welcome to the Camera Gear Podcast.
That is a title right there. This is the worst episode ever.
That's not clickbaity at all.
No,
that's totally fine. So, I bought a new lens.
Yeah, you had some camera experiences this weekend. I'd like to hear first, how was the event?
So I went to the Precision Camera Spring Expo thing, and it was fine. It was
fine.
So look, I walked in, and they're like, "Here's go talk to every vendor that's here," and which one you couldn't because the thing included Nisi on the vendor list. They weren't there.
Oh.
/ couldn't find them.
I saw that they were supposed to be there, and that was one of the reasons I was bummed I couldn't go.
Look, you're supposed to get a stamp from all the people at all the booths, and then you could enter to win Olympus Tough TG7 or 2 other irrelevant cameras.
Yes.
And there was like 14 names on that list. I'm not going to get 14
That's a
stamps.
lot.
It was a lot of stamps.
At NAB, we had to get 2. Remember, we had to get Insta360 and anti-gravity to get the pin, and that felt like a it was
a bit of a chore.
A challenge.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure we were going to achieve it.
Look, I got 3 stamps, and I said, not worth it.
Yeah, if there's 14, you got 3.
And that was an opportunity to win a freaking waterproof camera.
Yeah.
You know how much I would love a camera that I can dunk in water?
You would definitely love it.
I would love it so much.
You would dunk it in so many things.
It's just all the things.
Next time y'all have a chili cook-off,
glass of milk,
you'd be dumping it in that.
Put it in the chili. Yeah, 100%, dude. You got to get those kind of. Do you think it has a chili mode?
I hope it does.
If OM Systems is listening, I got an idea for the TG8.
This is what could bring the brand back.
Yep.
I mean, they have curry. Like they have curry mode.
Yeah, curry mode, chili mode, milk mode, water mode. Do you think? Never mind.
I'm just imagining the camera having like a comically large mode dial that have like 47 options that are mostly just various liquid-based foods.
Well, I'm just wondering because they have the water adjustment thing. And I think it's mostly related to tint.
Yeah, I think maybe
But
like some dehaze probably.
Do you think that it has to also do with the surface tension or water viscosity
like
how it relates
diffraction?
to like optics?
Ah.
Could be diffraction. I don't know exactly what they do for light modes.
Yeah.
But do you think that it would just be the same type of mode depending upon, like if you stuck it in oil?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's the same kind of mode?
Interesting.
Or do you think you have to have a different mode?
I mean, the tint, you'd certainly need a different mode.
Well, for sure.
But yeah.
So
I think the more modes, the better, honestly.
The event was good. It was good. But the important thing is that they were like doing some trade-in deals and some discount on used gear deals, and they were paying the tax.
And you did some wheeling dealing while you were there.
Wheeled and dealed, and walked away. I walked away with a 70-300 f4 to f5.6.
You've been wanting that for your whale watching.
That's exactly. I got to get a picture of that bear whale.
Yeah, the bear whale.
Yep. And this was very hard for me, but I traded in my 80 millimeter macro.
You've been debating that since a week after you got that lens.
I liked that lens. I thought I was going to do more with it than just macro, because I had the 85 1.8 from Viltrox,
right.
And before that I had the Tamron full frame EF 85 millimeter.
And you kind of hoped that this could kind of fill that gap, and it was always said to be like one of Fuji's sharpest lenses.
Right. I was like, maybe I can use it for portrait or event stuff where I need some reach, but I want like really good pictures. And where I landed was, why would I bring this and the 50 to 140?
Yeah.
And there was never a situation that I wanted to shoot on the 80 millimeter macro and not the 50 to 140.
I think that says more about the 50 to 140 than the 80. Like the 50 to 140 is so good that it's actually like just fine compared to a f2.8 macro prime lens.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a very good zoom, and I mean most camera companies have that really good 70 to 200 equivalent, and that's Fuji's, and it really holds up. So I was like, well, what if I want to get into macro? I'm never going to get into macro. Like, what if I want to scan my film with my macro lens?
That was your most recent.
And I just don't think it's a good enough reason. And so I sold it, and I bought the 70 to 300. And boy, am I into this lens, Daniel.
Really?
It is
big fan.
So cool.
What roughly what price did you pay for this?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
What's the MSRP's right?
I gave them $99.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And a friend's camera and a lens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I paid my friend for that camera, and I paid for the lens.
I think, MSRP is probably around 900. I think it was
800.
It was on sale. It may be on sale right now, but 800, 900. It's like in that range, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And you bought it new?
New use. I bought it used for like $7 something. I don't know.
Cool.
It was a good deal. But like this is their like weird in the middle telephoto lens. And so if you're in like the Fuji world and you're looking for a okay zoom, they have the 55 to 200 and they have the 70 to 300. And they also have the 100 to 400. Then they have the 150 to 500. Yeah. And the 150 to 500 is obviously the most premium and longest. And the 100 to 400 kind of falls in right behind it.
Yeah.
The 70 to 300 is the compromise in travel and size. It is physically smaller than the 17 to 70.
Wow. That is really small.
Barely. It's a 67 millimeter filter thread. It's like, it could be almost the same size, but it feels a smidge smaller.
Okay.
And it's f4 to f5.6. It's optically stabilized. It has a focus limiter switch, but it is the closest in macro capability to the actual macro lenses.
Really? So you kind of didn't completely give up macro.
Right.
I mean, it's not as good as the 80, right? But like, at least you could still take some close-up photos.
It's heavily compromised compared to the 60, the 80, and the 30 millimeter? Yeah, 30. And so the 30 and the 60 are a 1:2 macro, and the 80 is a 1:1. This one is a 1:3 in macro reproduction, but when you put the 2x teleconverter on it, it's a 1:1.5.
Oh, so this supports the 2x teleconverter?
Yes.
That's cool, because you already own that.
That was one of the driving factors, is this supports the 2x teleconverter, so I can effectively shoot at 600 millimeters.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
You lose some sharpness because of diffraction, and for the macro, if you're shooting at 600 millimeters, because you have to be zoomed all the way in, and you're basically at f11. So you're at f11.
A lot of light
in a 1 to 1.5. You need so much light, and it's not going to be nearly as sharp,
right,
as the 80 millimeter. So,
right.
But it's also kind of like for the non-film scanning type applications, it's probably good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I did try to get some macro shots with it, and I was pretty happy with the shots that I was able to get. You have like a real long working distance. I mean, it's like a few feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm going to get some like bugs or flowers or whatever, I think that this will be good enough. And I don't think I'm going to miss the macro too much.
I mean, even like going non-macros, shooting at 600, you can do some birding with that.
That's right.
That's your intro birding lens.
I'm on a crop sensor, Daniel. It's basically like shooting 900 millimeter.
Basically is.
I was trying to make my dad super jealous because he has the Sigma. I don't remember if it's I think it's adapted, but yeah, I think he puts it on the adapter. He has a Sigma 150 to 500. And that lens is enormous. It is so big. And I was like, check out this lens. And look how far it can reach. It can definitely reach farther on the 2x teleconverter than your lens.
I'm going to guess he was unimpressed.
He made note that the XT5 with the 7300 with the teleconverter combined is lighter than his Sigma lens.
That is that is pretty impressive.
I don't know if that's actually true, but it felt lighter. I was like, boo, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean that's the advantage of APS-C.
It's advantage, right? Shooting a little bit on a crop. So
well, and I mean just everything being smaller.
Yeah. Let's weather sealed, linear focus motors. Like it's like all the things, and I think that it's not as good as it's definitely not as good as 5140 in optical quality. It's not as good as like the 100 to 400, but it's like 80% as good.
Yeah,
and I've been happy with the shots. And boy, Daniel, it's really fun shooting over 200 millimeter.
What kind of stuff have you mostly shot with it that's been like enjoyable at that focal length?
Honestly, it's mostly just shooting everyday stuff really, really compressed. I did get a picture of a sparrow and some like flowers and berries and just like
some
outside
flowers
stuff.
And berries and
just like things or whatever. I haven't had a lot of time to play with it. I've mostly just kind of like walked around and did some quick shooting with it. But like if you're shooting at say like f5.6 and you're shooting at 300 millimeters, what is that, Daniel? What's the math on that?
I can't do that in my head.
You can't do that in your head? You can't do 300 divided by 5.6?
No.
It's 53 is that like image circle. So that's like shooting, it's basically like shooting on a 56 1.2 as far as the amount of depth of field.
Yeah,
like not depth of field, but like the bokeh and compression that you're going to get. And so even though it's like, oh, it's slower, I mean, you can get some like really fun compression when you're shooting at absurd focal lengths. And so I was taking pictures of people like my family where I'm like, hey, because it was Mother's Day, right? So we went, so people for Mother's Day. I was like, hey, stand over there. I'm going to take your picture. And then I walk like way far.
Walk like 400 yards away.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, did Lucas just like leave this gathering?
Smile. Where is he? Anyways, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. It's already been more enjoyable, even just shooting at like 70 millimeter, because that's 70 millimeter at f4 is still a decent compression compared to shooting kind of like normal focal length, like 23, 35, that sort of thing. Yeah, I just haven't played a lot with really long telephotos, and this one's so compact. Yeah,
I think the size for me would make it a lot more appealing, because even something like a 50 to 140 is pretty bulky, so having a smaller lens is nice.
I've avoided taking it. There was 2 trips last year where I did not bring my 50 to 140 because it was just too big. I didn't want to deal with it.
And this lens seems like you could have easily taken it.
Yeah, I mean, I tried it this weekend, right? I took my 23, my XT5, and the 7300, and I can fit that in the extra small camera cube from Peak Design, and I can stick that in any bag. Yeah, right. So it's like great, fantastic. I'm excited to use it for travel. Yeah, I think it's going to be perfect.
I think this is a way better. Like that was a really good trade from your macro.
It's something that's I'm going to get a lot more use out of it.
Yeah,
and I think that this being compatible with the teleconverter makes it substantially more useful.
Yeah, and especially lens. For you where you already had the teleconverter, like it keeps the price down, and seems great.
I think I've been sleeping on this one, man. I don't think I've been given enough credit to this.
Yeah.
super neat
Yeah,
lens.
I mean, a lot of companies kind of have this sort of like mid telephoto travel lens, and I think that for both of us, it's not really something we've considered for our kit, but for its intended purpose, I think it's good. I mean, if you're shooting an event, if it's dark, you're going to want something faster, but outside stuff, it seems like it's great.
Every time I told my dad about this lens, which was multiple times, he said, you mean the 18-300? Which is the Tamron 18-300.
Mm-hmm. He's like, that gives you, the 300, but you can also go all the way down to 18.
Look,
why wouldn't you want that?
I don't know why anyone would pick the 70-300 over the 18-300.
Yeah. Did they teach you that in your birding book?
It was one of the splash screens when I opened up Merlin. That's not true. I don't think my dad does birding. I should show him this app.
You really should. I could see him being real into that.
He'd be into it.
Yeah, he would.
He probably already knows them, honestly. He's like, I don't need this. I can already recognize all the birds by their call.
You can test him against it. Here's what I want to do with that app. We have a friend who sometimes makes bird noises. I think all of us, deep within us, maybe have some bird noises. And I would be interested to see if you could produce a bird noise that the app could pick up on.
You never know.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
It's like trying to trick Shazam into recognizing a song.
Yeah.
Anyway, Daniel, we have more lenses to talk about. Spoiler alert, this is a very lens-heavy episode.
Is that why it appears on our notes, at least it's had a lensathon?
Yeah, this is the lensathon.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right, Daniel.
Good plan.
And so next up on the list are some NAB lenses.
You going to pronounce this next brand for us real quick?
It's Sure.
There we go.
Obviously.
You
Daniel,
have a bag from them now.
Look, they've come up enough. I know way back when I bought my tripod from Sure, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sururi?
Total disaster on you trying to pronounce it.
Sururi? And here we are.
Yeah.
No, all jokes aside. There it is. So they have anamorphic lenses, as everybody knows.
Can we take a break though and say that we went up to their booth in an AB, and
no, Daniel, we can't talk about that.
No,
we're not talking about this. So
we walked up to the booth, and they had these anamorphic lenses, and the guy says, "Oh, are you familiar with these?" And you being like super cool, Mr. Camera Gear podcaster guy, are like, "Oh yeah, these are the anamorphs, right?" And he's like, "No, that's not this brand."
Look, listen. Sometimes you just have to put people in their place. There's this episode of Parks and Rec where Ron's like, sometimes I call people by the wrong name because they're getting too chummy.
Got to remind them where they stand with you.
Just be like, yeah, what are these? Blazers?
Like, sir, please stop spitting on the line.
You're going to have to leave. Oh, man.
We hear there's a guy running around this show putting things in his mouth, and now you're over here spitting on lenses.
That's not me. That's another guy. So the Iron Stars are their 1.5x anamorphic lenses. And there's been a handful of them that they've already produced. And for NAB, Sura came out with a 75 and a 100 and a 135. Just like additional anamorphics. Super cool. The exciting one is the 100 millimeter f2.8 is a macro.
Yeah. So it's like the macro lensathon episode.
It's the tie-in. That's the tie-in. Next, we're going to talk about other cinema lenses. See how it ties in?
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do that on purpose. Daniel, do you know how many people make macro anamorphics?
I imagine it is not very many.
It's not that many. You got some like Laowa and Viltrox options, obviously. Cook makes one that's like $60 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like more than the GDP of several European countries.
Yes, definitely. But it's not common. I mean, normally whenever you're shooting in anamorphic, you are giving up close focusing distance.
Yeah.
It's just very difficult in order to consistently maintain the squeeze through the entire focal range without seeing variation.
Okay.
And going into that was a problem that we've seen with a lot of these more economical brands like Laowa, maybe Suri less so much, but you see these anamorphics and it's like these are really good, but whenever you maybe there was anyways, whenever you zoom in, like if you get within like this close or whatever, the squeeze changes, and I was like so razor focused on trying to figure out if this 100mm squeeze changed, and that is just impossible to tell on the back of a monitor. Let me tell you,
you were definitely trying. Yeah, I think they had it on like a Kinfinity camera.
I'm like focusing in and out. I'm like, is it doing it? Is it doing it?
Yep.
I didn't see it do it, Daniel.
Didn't see it.
It seems like it performed really well, and it's a 0.5x magnification. I guess that's like 1 to 2.
Yeah, I guess so.
If I had to guess. So, but it's cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. Did you know these anamorphics are advertised to support 360-degree mounting?
Meaning what?
You can shoot vertical anamorphic with them.
That's pretty cool.
Whenever we talked about Project Hail Mary and the whole vertical anamorphic thing, it was like, oh, they had to do this custom whatever to blah, blah, blah to shoot vertical. That's how I remember it.
Wow.
And now that we own some PL mount lenses, and I've used the PL mount adapter on your camera, I don't understand why you couldn't just turn it 90 degrees.
Sit it in there sideways.
Like you just set it in there and then you lock it. Like you just turn it. Like, it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard.
Because the lens it's not. There's no electronics, so it's not. You don't have to worry about pins lining up. I don't know. Is it what did they have to do that was custom though? Was it the lens mount or was it something with like D-squeeze or like?
But I mean, I think you just shoot vertical.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it is an electronics thing. Like you can transfer the lens stuff, and they have all the taps.
Maybe so.
I'm just saying it's the PL's not a bayonet mount, right? You just you set it into the pins, right? So like, what's stopping you from turning it? Anyways, it's now an advertised feature of these lenses that you can shoot in a vertical anamorphic.
Yeah, perfect for all that social media content.
I mean, you just get weird.
Just get weird.
Just get weird with it.
Just get weird. Do these? So there's multiple companies that kind. I mean, because like one thing that sets these apart is they're like more on the affordable side as far as anamorphic lenses go.
Right.
And there's a couple others that are maybe like kind of in the same class. You know, like the nanomorphs that you thought these were.
I got to mess with those.
Blazers maybe affordable too. And the question I'm going to ask is like, do you have an opinion on like, are these like way better than those others, or are they like all kind of like roughly in the same class?
I don't think it would be fair for me to say, having not
we haven't tested them,
really shot on any of them. I know that in my like cross shopping, just kind of online and reading reviews and that sort of thing, they all have their different pluses and minuses and characters and that sort of thing. In shooting anamorphic, you're really kind of leaning into like what kind of look you're going to get more
like,
so than
especially at the flares and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think that none of these are going to be really optically perfect compared to maybe a more, premium cinema style lens. Right. And many of them just, you seem to be able to like kind of pick and choose your flare color and all this sort of stuff. And I don't know if that's always been a thing. It feels like it's very much a prosumer advertising type thing.
It does seem that way. The nanomorphs were tiny.
Yeah, I finally got hands on with those things. They were so small.
Yeah,
so small.
Those are APS-C only. Is that right?
They make full frame ones now.
Oh, okay, cool.
But the APS-C ones, like 4X mount, XF mount, wildly small. Yeah. I'm trying to think of things that they were small as. And I'm thinking
how close are they in size to like I don't know, let's say like a bar of Irish Spring soap? Like is it that size?
Felt like smaller. Really? I think they were the size of a can of Red Bull. Like the skinny Red Bull cans.
But those are pretty long, pretty tall can.
I mean they weren't short. Maybe they weren't as tall.
Yeah.
But they maybe probably have a slightly bigger diameter.
Yeah.
Definitely bigger than a number 2 pencil.
Well, you imagine a lens that small.
I'm trying to think of things that are cylinder shaped. They were bigger than a garden hose.
What about that medium cup of coffee in front of you?
Oh, definitely smaller than that.
Definitely smaller than that.
It would certainly fit inside this medium cup of coffee.
But if you were to put it in there while there's coffee in there, it probably wouldn't work. It's probably not weather sealed.
I don't know, but I don't think that they're weather sealed. I don't think weather sealing applies to submersion in any fashion.
No, I don't think so. You need like an Olympus Tough GG7 with a coffee mode for that.
Correct. Yeah. That's correct. Surrey also came out with some new primes, and I don't know if those matter, but they came out with some more of their Vision 1 primes. They previously had the 24, the 35, and the 50. Okay. These are all 1.4 like Cine primes. And they added a 15, a 74, and a 150.
Oh, a 74? That's
75. Sorry, I read 75 T 1.4 and I miscomputed.
That's a weird size.
Yeah. So these all excitingly ship with interchangeable E, RF, Z, and L mounts.
And they come with all those.
Yeah, just like in the box.
That is really cool.
And they're $550 a piece.
Yeah. What a deal.
They're very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I don't know how well these compare to things because, like, spoiler alert, we bought 4 Cine primes and I was cross shopping. So we bought the Nisi, what are they? Athenas. And I was cross shopping those heavily against the DZO Vespid ones.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the second lens was that we were looking at?
I thought it was mostly between those.
It was mostly the Vespid, but there was another option. I
can't remember what that one was.
I did not look at the Vision primes heavily in comparing. So I don't know how good they are in comparison to something that's in that $800 to $1,500 tier. Yeah.
Well, always. I mean, it's cool to have more options. These seem really affordable.
They're very affordable. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's good.
Nice.
It used to be that the concept of getting something in PL mount was, I don't want to say intimidating, but you just wouldn't. You're like, oh, what am I going to put on it?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm going to go buy like some $20,000 lenses. And I don't know, in the last 10 years, not 10, 5 years, a lot of these companies have started coming out with many options in like the budget cinema space. Things that aren't just like, oh, I bought a bunch of Rokinon Cine primes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because it does feel like that used to be the case. Like it was just Rokinon, and now there's a bunch of options, and they're all like pretty good.
Yeah, they are pretty good. So is this the time to talk about?
I feel like it is.
It is the time to talk about. So I was trying to remember the name of.
You want to remember that third one, don't you?
I want to remember the third one. Versus, yep. So I'm going to see if I can look them up. But when we left NAB for like that week, Nisi was running a deal where they had a lot of their Athena primes on sale.
Yeah, 40% off.
Which was
major sale.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
40% off, man. And I'm like, okay, that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
And these we got to play, use them at NAB, and okay, these seem like pretty decent. They had good correction. Should we just like buy some cinema lenses? And
as one and find himself asking sometimes, should I buy cinema lenses?
I'm frequently asking myself, should I buy cinema lenses? And the answer was yes, we should.
Yep.
And so I had to do the whole, okay, let's take a step back. Is this the best choice for what we need to do right now?
And I fully delegated that decision to you. I was like, Lucas, I need you to figure this out.
Well, I think that of the two of us, one of us maybe has a few more opinions as it relates to.
One of us really enjoys looking at lens charts.
That's true.
That's true.
So I was comparing the Athenas to whatever options were out there, and I landed on the DZO Vespids and the IRIX. What are they?
Yeah, the IRIX. That is the brand.
They're like the IRIX Cine lenses or whatever. And I pretty quickly narrowed it down to just the Athenas and the Vespids.
Pretty similar price range between those two.
Right. The Vespid ones are pretty much the same price as the Athenas.
And the Vespid 2s are out, but they're more expensive.
They're more expensive. And from what I can tell, the Vespid 2s are worth it over the Vespid 1.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me that for how well the lens match in the series, because these are things that are really important for cinema lenses, and what I was super interested in was like how well do they match as a set?
Yeah.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, that's like probably one of like 2 reasons to get a set of cinema primes.
Yeah, so like you're looking at the vector scopes and you're seeing, it's like, okay, we shot a chart and we layered all the lenses on top of each other. Mm-hmm. How close are the colors?
Yeah, like how much deviation is there? Do any of the lenses have like a weird color cast?
Right, exactly. And then here's your sharpness charts. Like how close are these from lens to lens to lens? Which ones have any sort of parallel or pincushioning distortioning? Is there any like sharpness? Do the bokehs match from lens to lens to lens, or are they weird on any of them? All of those things.
You do not want to have a bokeh mismatch.
I mean, you want to be able to swap the lens and it be the same.
Yep,
not have like any cast. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to me from all the stupid reviews and charts and everything that I looked at, the Vespid 2s marginally outperformed the Athenas.
So it's kind of like you're thinking in order. It's like Vespid 1, Athena, Vespid 2.
I was having a really hard time with the Vespid 1 versus the Athenas. Mm-hmm. The Vespid 1s are less neutral. The Athenas tend to push a little closer to green.
Okay.
And the Vespids tend to push a little closer to warmer tones. Mm-hmm. And from that perspective, I prefer the Vespids. I like the way they look more. Mm-hmm. But what turned me off was, one, they've moved on. Like, it is Vespid 2, not Vespid 1 for DCO. And I was like, man, if we're going to be building out this lineup, I'd rather invest in current lenses.
Yeah.
And the Athenas aren't that old. Mm-hmm. They're like a handful of years old, and they've been adding to it.
Yeah.
They added the 40 millimeter, they added the 135, and they've now like, and here's the faster versions.
Yeah, they have the 1.4 like Aureus or something, but they're supposed to be, image match with these.
Right, exactly. And so it feels like Nisi's doing something there.
Yeah.
And so that was part of it. And the other one was flare control. The flaring on the Vespid 1s is... it's something. It is. Okay. And it's not just like, here's some ghosting on the frame. It's like real artifacts that change shape as it moves across the lens, and it's a look.
Yeah.
And it can be really distracting if it's not what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And so the flaring and then the support long term was kind of what was driving me more towards the Athenas, and that's where we landed, because it was like, for the price, what these are, they're just super good.
So do you want to tell people which ones we got?
No, I want to talk more about them.
Okay.
So
fine. We're just going to leave them to wonder.
Just leave them to wonder. So one of the things that I was really stuck on was most of these Athena primes, the back focus element is fairly long for what it is.
Okay.
And many people, when you buy PL lenses, you will buy a mount to go to your mirrorless camera. Yeah. Like even us who are like, we're going to be trying out a Pixis imminently. And I think you got the L mount version, right? Yeah. So, but we have all these PL lenses, right? You're just going to adapt it. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of...
that works out well, because like I have L mount cameras, like you got an adapter for X mount. Like
yeah. There's a lot of adapters for PL to whatever. Mm-hmm. And many of them come with filters, right? You can just like, there's slot in filters, which is great. That seems like a really, really cool solution, and a reason to go PL is like buy a mount that has a filter in it.
Yeah.
Buy a mount that has a speed booster in it.
There you go.
And like, really cool. The Athenas, because of that back focus element, you are very limited on the types of adapters that you can use.
Yeah, because it'll stick, the back focus thing out like sticks into the adapter and interfere with the filter.
Sticks out too far. And so you basically can't use filter options, rear filter options for your adapter. And I felt like that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Nisi to like to account for that, they sell the L mount versions have a back filter system, or even if you get another mount, right? Like if you get the non-PL, you can get a back filter system. Mm-hmm. The other thing that they do is they sell screw-in filters for the rear of the lens, which I was surprised when they came, is they already had clear filters on the back.
Yeah, it's nice to have that extra protection.
And so we bought a 1/4 mist to go into the back.
Just to play with that.
I figured, okay, you can screw an ND or whatever onto the back of these things. Maybe that's like good enough, but it was kind of a bummer to like give up the option of having some like interesting third-party lens adapter solutions.
Right.
So I think that was most of the things that were interesting. Oh, and it has glow-in-the-dark numbers on it.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean, the lens is black. It's like green letters.
Yeah.
So.
Super, super cool.
Does that work pretty well? Have you played with that?
I have not experimented with the
I'm curious
lettering.
how long it lasts.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
So we bought, they make a 16.
Isn't it 14 maybe?
14?
I think it's like 14, 18, 25.
14, 25, 35, 40, 85? Isn't there one in the middle? They make a 50.
Yeah, they make
50, 85, 135.
Right.
And from what I could tell, the 14 and the 35 are the worst lenses. 14 because it's just so, it's wide.
Yeah.
It's fairly rectilinear,
I
but
really think they might have an 18.
is it an 18?
Yeah, I don't know.
Too bad there's no way to look it up. And find out.
Yeah, it's impossible.
There's no way we could do it. And so the 35 seemed to be the weakest link in the lens setup. And so I didn't even want to deal with that. And I went straight for the 40. So we skipped over the 35, went straight to 40.
So we got the 25 though, right?
And we got the 25 because we need a wide.
Yeah.
And then we bought the 85. And then you went rogue and bought the 135.
Yeah. It was on sale, man. You know, I'm a sucker for a good sale.
You literally can't help yourself.
We saved money by buying it.
That's not how that works.
That is exactly how that works.
That's not how that works. So that's it. We got the 4 lenses.
Yep.
And I'm elated.
You've played with them like very briefly, right? Like you took some test shots.
It is so pleasant. The 300-degree rotation of the focus.
Oh, I love that because you can get so much more precise.
And the non-clicked apertures. Oh man,
I can't wait to put a follow focus on it. You know, it's just like the whole setup's gonna be really nice.
It's just very enjoyable to use.
Yeah.
And we bought a quarter black mist, and I put that on the 40, and I shot with that just a little bit, and a quarter's a little too much.
A little too much.
It was a look.
Not the look you wanted, but a
Not
look.
necessarily.
I have an 1/8 mist filter, so I'll be curious to see if that is better.
I think that'll be perfect. What I was wondering was, would I like the mist enough to just buy like quarter or 1/8 mists to put on all the lenses?
Yeah, just like leave it on there.
Always shoot with mist.
Always shoot with mist.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So I love it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to use these for some projects.
I didn't expect to like go to NAB, talk to the Nisi guys, and then be like, wow, what a good deal. Let's buy a bunch of lenses, and then just buy all their lenses, and be like, all of a sudden, Daniel Lucas are just like the biggest Nisi fanboys in the world.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
It's a little ridiculous because like you bought freaking every mag filter that they make.
I didn't buy everything they make, but while you were looking at those lenses, I was looking at their magnetic filter system, which is called the JetMag Pro, and that ended up convincing me to try that out.
What is special about this JetMag thing?
Well,
I have it in front of me.
Yeah,
here.
Polar Pro has magnetic filters, and actually we'll talk at the end. Tilta also just came out with some, but what makes these special is you have a screw-on thing that goes like on your where you put a lens filter, and it has some magnets on it, and then the filters or the cap are magnetized. What makes these special is that when you put it on, you can twist it and it will lock it on, which is kind of a nice touch. It's very satisfying, isn't it? This is the ASMR segment.
I like that you just turn it and it's locked on.
Yeah.
Like you just hold. Yep. Look at that.
Yep.
I'm just like not dropping your lens right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you do that if that was one of your lenses?
Yeah, 100%. Very much so.
They make them in various sizes. The ones like because you have adapters, but then there's like the nominal filter size or whatever. And so because I shoot full frame, I got the 82 millimeter filter size, and then there's adapters that go all the way down to like 62 or 67, which is great because I can just get adapters for all of my primes that are 67 millimeter and use the same filters with them. And they sell various kits that come with most of the types of filters you could imagine, whether it be like NDs or circular polarizer or UV or black mist or whatever.
And one of the interesting things with it is that you can stack them all.
Yeah.
Right? So they're all magnetic. And they'll make a back cap. And so you can basically take the front cap, the back cap, stack all your filters in the middle, and have like a little stack of filters if you would like to, and transport them that way.
And like you can twist the filters to lock them together, and then have that little stack of filters.
Yeah, so it's like the base that's on the lens here, and then all the other filters. It has a line on each side that's maybe, I don't know, 2 centimeters or an inch, and then the piece that magnetizes onto it has some very well-formed grooves.
Yeah, like a
where
little
you can
grip.
kind of like hold it between 2 fingers across a circle, and then whenever you magnet it on, you just align those grips with the line that's on the receiving piece.
Yep.
And when those are lined up, it's locked, and then you just turn it off and pop it off.
Yeah, turn it off and pop it off.
It's just very satisfying.
It is. I'm happy about it. So the kit I got has, the various adapter rings, and then I have a 1 to 5 stop variable ND and a black mist, a 1/8 black mist to play with. And I'll probably get like a polarizer or something later, but so I kind of have some various adapters and caps and stuff. But one thing I'm excited about, even without using the filters, is just the caps, because I kind of hate regular lens caps. I feel like they're always kind of popping off in my bag and stuff, because it's this little spring-loaded thing, and these seem a lot more secure, and they're really easy to put on and off. So I'm pretty happy with that part.
I am interested to shoot some charts and test those VNDs and see.
That's always the big question with these things, I think, is the variable ND going to have a color cast? Is it going to change as you change the ND? And in the research I did, it seemed like these should be pretty good, but yeah, I will be curious to see that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I haven't gotten to play with them yet, but I will tomorrow.
That's right.
The main reason I wanted a system like this is, like I said, the cap thing is nice, but mostly it's for the ND, because I found that sometimes I'm shooting an event that has some indoor components and some outdoor components, and you end up needing to switch between having ND and not having ND. And sometimes when you're, trying to run around and get the shot in an event, it's kind of annoying to think about, screwing on the right filter onto the lens and all that. And I do think that this magnetic system is going to be a little bit faster to pop that on and off.
I frequently will end up with a filter in my pocket. And if I had the magnets for both sides of it, and I could just clamp those together and stick them in my pocket, and then easily like take the magnet piece out, magnet it on, pull the filter off, magnet on the back, and put it back in.
That's a good idea.
I would feel a lot more comfortable about like popping off NDs just in the middle of shooting an event.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I have adapters basically for the lenses I normally use for event shooting to be able to interchange the filters among all those lenses. So I'm looking forward to playing with it more.
It's very cool. Let's see, there's a handful more Nisi things, Daniel. I don't think we have time to even get to all the lenses today.
Well, this is a Lensathon Part 1.
I guess so. So a few other things that Nisi came out with. They came out with these retro primes, which
they're basically the Athena primes, but they're like retro, right?
I was like, we have to buy retro primes. Daniel, we have to buy retro primes. We didn't, but
we could have.
It's a matter of how much do you want your look baked in?
Yeah. I mean, that something like the retro primes to me feels like a second set of cinema lens purchase, not a first.
Do we need a second set, Daniel? Look,
probably not.
Daniel,
yet.
If we're getting a second set, they need to be anamorphics. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. A third set.
A third set, maybe the retro primes.
Yeah.
They match-ish to the Athena.
Match-ish.
We kind of already talked about these and how it's like bad on purpose kind of thing. But the interesting thing with the retro primes is, they're really glowy when wide open. Like you get soap rings around your bokeh, and it's a really strong glowing look.
Yeah. The
lens flare is almost like the DZO Vespids, where it has this like very aggressive lens flare.
Yeah.
It's just like really, really a look. But the trick to it is that they clean up at T2.8, and then they really clean up at T5.6, and all of them clean up in the same window. And so while you can you buy a lens and it looks bad, and then you stop down and it looks good. That doesn't feel like that's very innovative. I think the trick with these is that if they all look the same good or bad at the same apertures, Now you have a set of cinema primes.
Yeah. You can use it you can use the lenses interchangeably in a shoot, and they'll give you a consistent look.
And that's kind of the trick. The trick with these is that you can get that consistency that you would expect out of a series of primes,
right?
While also getting that nastiness that you just really long for.
Sometimes you just really long for the nastiness.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, haven't we all?
So I don't know if there's much more to say on these. I kind of love them, but
it's like I think what I said at the beginning. I think they're a neat product, but probably would not be your first set of cinema primes.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last one was like one of their, was this best in show or whatever? I don't think it won any of those awards. Is the 16 millimeter T2.9, and this was a lens with 65 millimeter coverage,
like for the GFX Eterna, that kind of thing,
or the Alexa 65, right? Both of those cameras are within the last 3 years or so, and like kind of big deal. Like look at these like actual like large format cinema cameras, where there's no lenses for them, and there were so many lenses at NAB for the 65 millimeter coverage.
Yep. And
this one particularly is interesting because it's one of one. It's not like a set; it's just one lens.
Yeah,
there's not only one; like there's multiple of them. But their standard full frame lenses, like the ones we bought, are 46.5 millimeter coverage. So that'll cover like a Red Raptor or something. Right. Has that because they're larger than full frame size and the longer wider sensors. Well, this is 65, right? It's going to cover pre-Vista and all that stuff. Actually, the Nisis that we got, the Athenas, will cover pre-Vista.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's in certain modes, in like 16:9, because that's like a fit. Anyways,
right. Good to know.
I'm just saying.
Could be useful someday. You never know.
Yeah. Fuji. So, 65 millimeter coverage, right? 16 millimeter. Do you know how wide that is, Daniel?
It's pretty wide.
Do you know how wide that is?
Pretty wide, especially if you put it on a GFX.
I think the crop factor to a GFX sensor when compared to full frame is give or take 0.7, if I have that correctly. So this is somewhere in the range of less than 12 millimeter full frame equivalent.
It's very wide.
It's very wide. My father made the point of asking Tamron and Nikon this weekend, where are his super wide primes? And he tried their 14 millimeter, I think, and he said it wasn't wide enough.
Unimpressed.
Could have been wider.
Unimpressed.
Yeah, unimpressed. I keep telling him.
Maybe Tamron will release a 14 to 300 and you can get that lens. Or 12 to 300.
Maybe 600 even. I keep telling him 10 millimeters is really wide.
That's pretty wide.
He's going to take a picture of the back of his head by accident. And 16 millimeter on a 65 millimeter image circle.
It feels niche.
It is unbelievably wide.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to show off, a 65 millimeter coverage, you either do a 16 and just really show off how wide you can go, or you pull a Viltrox and you release a 35-pound 42 to 420.
Those are the two options, and we saw both of them.
We sure did. And I won in a raffle a body pillow that's supposedly going to come in the mail one day. That is the 42 to 420.
They were doing that raffle at the show, and they had like 5 or 6 things to raffle off, including a couple of actual lenses. And the whole time they were hyping up that body pillow. And they said, we know the thing. Everybody wants to win the body pillow. And it was the last thing they raffled off. And they called your number.
They sure did. Boy, still don't have it.
I can't wait to see that.
They said they're sending it. They said the factory's going to mail that puppy out.
When we say body pillow, they said the reason they didn't have it at the show is because it's a real pain to get through the airport.
There will be pictures.
Yes.
If it ever shows up.
Yes.
I wish that they had given me the picture of me holding the lens.
I know.
They didn't post it or nothing. I was really sad about that. That thing was freaking heavy, man.
Yeah. It has a massive carry handle on top.
Yeah.
It seems like it needs it.
Jeez. I don't know, how many people need this lens. Do you know how much this thing costs?
I know it's expensive, but no, I don't know exactly what it costs.
Do you want to guess?
No, because I can see it in the show notes.
Dang it, Daniel. I was hoping you weren't reading. You read too much. $100,000. The $100,000 lens.
That's a lot of money.
I wouldn't have held it if they had told me.
Yeah.
They're like, you got it? And I'm like, why are you asking? Oh, that's why you're asking.
Yeah.
It's their Luna series, Viltrox's Luna series, and apparently they make a 30 to 300. I don't know if we talked about that one, but it's an F4, and that one's only $65,000.
Oh, that's it.
So
peanuts.
It's a deal.
Yeah.
So cool, man. That was also not the only. It's not a super zoom, but it's a 10x zoom that we saw.
A lot of zoom.
Yeah, this is the last one that I want to talk about today because there's just so much. Even though we really need to talk about that macro because that thing was crazy. Canon came out with a super zoom for their cinema stuff, and this was the 40 to 1200.
Now, is this one? When we say for cinema stuff, does this have a servo in it? Like, is this a broadcast lens?
Yeah, it has a servo in it. So it's Super 35. But they say that it has full frame coverage with the extension.
Interesting.
So built in, it has a built-in teleconverter,
like a 1.5x, I think.
Something like yeah. So it's 40 to 1200 on Super 35, and then when you activate the teleconverter, it goes to 1800.
These specs seem very much like Fuji's broadcast lenses, like those Fujinon broadcast servos, except that this is Super 35 or full frame coverage, whereas those are often like a 2/3 sensor.
Right. Those are often a 2/3 sensor. And like that's kind of the big deal with this. Well, one of the big deals is that it is like covers Super 35 and covers some full frame and has a ton of really cool features. Like the big, like the main thing is it is incredibly small.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, man, I want to see this 40 to 1200, and I was expecting it to look like one of those giant Fujinon like broadcast lenses that are enormous.
The ones that are like a big box.
Yeah, they're huge. And so I'm like wandering around the canopy trying to find this thing, and it's just there.
It looks like a normal size
on
lens.
A tripod, and it's so small. I know, like it doesn't sound like it's small because it's 16 inches long and 14 pounds. But
when you have it on like a cinema camera, it's very proportionally sized.
In context for what it is. It's incredibly small.
Yeah.
Like a bit of a feat of engineering. So some of the interesting things about this, other than the fact that it costs $80,000, is they made the motor for the servo USB-C. USB-C.
Interesting.
But it's not just
like to power it or to control it? Or
to power it.
Okay.
But it's not just USB-C. It's USB-C PD.
Oh.
And so because of that, they can deliver more power.
More power.
And it can do the thing in like 1 second.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Versus like 1.5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So just faster.
Yeah. And like you don't need some weird custom cable to power it.
Right. Exactly. The other interesting thing about this is that they're shipping it in PL mount and RF mount.
Okay. What's weird about that?
No EF.
It's almost like they're trying to get rid of EF. I wonder if they I was going to say maybe they couldn't do this optical formula with something with the flange distance of EF, but if they can do PL, then I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, like
I think that's the solution, right? You get like a PL to EF adapter.
You can always adapt it, right, if you need to. But I think the interesting thing here is that we haven't seen Canon necessarily dropping support for EF in all of their cinema stuff, and it not shipping with EF is a bit stand out. And I don't know if part of that is the fact that Nikon owns Red now, and now there's no like Red V-Raptor EF version for them to need to service.
True.
And they would rather see people buy a C400.
That could be.
I don't know. Maybe you get a Red. Can you get Red with PL mount? You can't, right? It's just Z now.
Well, maybe, but you could certainly get a PL to Z adapter.
That's true. I don't know why you wouldn't. Anyway, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And so like we gotta use it on the C400.
You played with it at
and
the
like the other thing that does it's a T5 to T10.8.
Wow.
It's a variable aperture, which you're like, is this a cinema lens? What a bummer! Like, what are we gonna do with variable aperture?
Like 1200 millimeters. What do you expect?
And so, but if you're shooting on a Canon camera in the RF mount, you can turn on auto exposure compensation.
Okay.
And as you zoom in, it will adjust the ISO to not change your exposure.
That's cool.
And
did it seem like that worked pretty well?
It is very, very good. Like I was expecting to maybe see some stepping in it, but they've smoothed it out pretty incredibly.
That's good.
And so like you just zoom all the way in on the mariachi player and it didn't change the exposure. It was really good.
Yeah, that's a good feature. I mean, it's a reason to use it on an RF camera for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like they want you to use it on RF camera.
Yeah.
But I thought that was one of the more incredible lenses.
Yeah.
At NAB this year.
Does that thing support autofocus? Because a lot of Canon cameras have autofocus.
Yeah. It's got that dual pixel AF. Actually, the cameras have it, but yeah, no, fully supports autofocus and the whole 9 yards.
That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, I think that they're specifically trying to push us for broadcast type solutions. I mean, that seems pretty obvious, but maybe there's some other options. I don't know if you would run and gun with this.
Yeah,
I can't imagine carrying
for that.
20 pounds of lens situation.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a fixed situation to me.
It does feel like a fixed
honestly,
situation.
to me, broadcast feels like the main use for this, because when I think cinema, I think not quick setups, not quick changes, and I feel like, I know zooms are used some in cinema stuff, but I feel like the reason primes are more popular is because normally putting a lens on the camera is not what's delaying your shoot, so I feel like there's less of a need to have this crazy zoom range.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe like if you're trying to get like a very specific type of shot where you're gonna like zoom during the shot, that'd be the main thing.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense. It does feel very, very broadcast driven. I mean, if you're shooting cinema stuff, you're just gonna shoot primes. I don't know if that's true.
Well, I mean, that's my argument, is that I think that in a lot of cinema stuff, you're going to be setting up your scene for 2 hours. You have time to put a prime on the camera. So.
Yeah, got a little extra time to optimize for maximum image quality.
Yeah.
You're not unless you got to do a really, really epic, like smash zoom.
Yeah.
Really,
which you do need that. I mean, that's
it's
a critical part of any film.
What was that Fuji lens that we used?
The one where you stood up on the platform?
I think that one went to like 1,000 also. Yeah. That was really fun.
You were spying on people across the show floor.
That was wild.
Yeah.
I'd have to stack so many teleconverters to get my 70 to 300 to be that far.
Worth it.
I mean, this says it goes to 1,200 on Super 35. It's only twice as far as 600.
Yeah. And the lens is a little bit bigger, a little bit more expensive.
Just a little bigger, a little more expensive.
Small amount.
Now that I'm thinking about it, if I bought a second teleconverter and I just had like a 4X teleconverter, that's not a thing.
Yeah, you can't do that. But if you could.
They would be the same. And that's not that much bigger.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a diffraction problem, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
I think it'd be a physics problem. I don't think you can like lock that system together. I think that's the issue you'd run into. I don't think you can I physically don't think you can stack the teleconverters.
No, you can't. But I know that I did. Well, I guess that's different. I did it wasn't EF, FE, because that's the film. I did an FE to X to teleconverter to my camera.
That's a lot.
Right? Is that what I did? And that almost worked.
Almost.
You just get like...
That's what you want when you're doing photography. You want things that almost work.
Did I do the double teleconverter with that EF lens?
I think you did.
I think I did.
Yeah.
You just take like the EF lens.
Yeah.
And then you put it on the teleconverter. And then you put that on the adapter.
Yeah.
And then you put that on the teleconverter.
I think that's
and then you put that on the camera.
I think it was pretty terrible. I think you were having trouble autofocusing for sure.
It was very hard to focus.
Yeah.
And it definitely diffracted quite a bit. So it's easy.
Yeah.
I don't see why Canon's like making such a big deal about it.
Easy.
I did it by myself at home with a box of scraps.
If you say so.
That's when you press a button, Daniel. It was a really good exit line.
That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us. And if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com. And you can find us on Twitter @CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.